This video is about bulking and cutting. I completed my 12 weeks of Mentzer challenge, but to be honest, at least half of the 12 weeks, I was messing everything up. My diet was off, and my workouts were half-assed. Prior to starting the 12 weeks of Mentzer, I had been following what I thought was Mike Mentzer's protocol. I was eating in a slight surplus and training twice a week, with at least 2 days between workouts. I took my one set of each exercise to failure, and I was consistently achieving PRs with all of my lifts. But there was a problem, a big fat problem. I had fallen into the dirty bulk trap. And yes, I made gains. Strength gains, size gains. However, I was miles away from being lean. Yeah, you were fat. Yeah, I had gotten fat. And I felt like all my gains meant nothing. I mean, Mike Mentzer himself went through the same dilemma.
You see, it was in vogue back then to bulk up and then cut down, which meant to gain as much weight as possible despite its composition, then lose the fat and be left with just the muscle. Well, by the time I finished getting rid of the fat, more than 6 months later, I ended up weighing but 169 pounds, less than my starting weight of 180, and with less muscle. The near starvation diet and gross overtraining that led to such a weight loss caused me to lose muscle. So much for bulking up and cutting down.
So I decided to do one last cut, 4 weeks, to see if I could get down to my desired goal weight of 170 pounds, with my waist measurement at 34 inches. This would bring me under 20% body fat, with my long-term goal of between 14 to 10% body fat. For that, I'd need to get my waist down to at least 32 inches. So what have I been doing to achieve this? Number 1, I've increased my level of activity. I kept a consistent 10,000 steps or more a day. I did 2 weightlifting workouts a week, a chest and back day, and a leg day at my local gym. I also started going to the pool, swimming laps at least twice a week. I did walking workouts at home after dinner, and since it's finally nice outside, I also started bike riding. Before, my life was extremely sedentary. I have a desk job. It can be stressful, but not in the physical sense. And yes, I have 2 kids. I should be active by chasing them around, right? I was stressed out mentally from work, and when I came home, I just wanted to have dinner, get the kids ready, and go to bed. I was stuck in this loop day after day.
And my diet was anything but strict. My slight caloric surplus ballooned into a heavy surplus. We were eating like crap and thinking our workouts would turn those extra calories into muscle. But it didn't. It turned into, surprise, fat.
So, number 2, I changed my diet. My goal was to eat what Mike always recommended, a 60% carb, 25% protein, and 15% fat diet, with the calories from fat dramatically reduced to 15% and some days much less. If you look at the macronutrient ratio, you'd see that it's a high carb, low fat diet. Yes, Mike said you need fats, but how much? Well, very little, it turns out. So what happened after these 4 weeks? So I continued to lose weight, going from 177.7 to 173 in 4 weeks, a 4.7 pound drop, with my waistline going from 36 inches to 34.5. My body fat percent is now at 20%. My plan is to stay between 170 to 175 as I continue to lean bulk and focus my energy on building strength and muscle. Training to failure, progressive overload, 60% carbs, 25% protein, and 15% fat.
I'll always continue evaluating to see if I need to cut back. I don't want to just gain the fat back. I want to lose more fat and build some lean muscle over the next few months.
So, should you bulk or cut?
Go up a couple of hundred calories at a time and keep tabs on your body weight. If at some point you start gaining very rapidly, check to make sure it's muscle, and if not, simply cut back. It is not necessary, as I was led to believe 30 years ago, that one must bulk up, that is, gain fat with muscle, to build muscle. The more fat one puts on, the longer and harder he'll have to diet to get it off.
If you are significantly overweight, it would be to your advantage to do a cut. It's great to see strength gains, but it's very demotivating when you look in the mirror and all your gains are hidden underneath layers of fat. When deciding on whether to do a bulk or a cut, you should consider the following.
Do I have much muscle already? How much fat do I need to lose? Have I ever been in shape before? Now, this is just my opinion. If you already have a good amount of muscle and not that much fat to lose and have been in shape prior, then doing a cut would be best. Cut the fat and reveal your physique. If you don't have much muscle, not that much fat to lose, and you've never been in shape before, then a bulk is probably for you. Just remember, it's a slight caloric surplus. But what if you don't have that much muscle and a significant amount of fat to lose and have never been in shape? Then personally, I'd recommend a cut to get a good portion of the weight off and then a consistent, slow, clean bulk.
5 to 6 weeks should be the minimum time allocated for preparation, and anything more than 10 to 12 weeks becomes too taxing and draining on mind and body. If you tend towards leanness and lose fat easily, spend a solid 6 weeks training and dieting. If you are endomorphic or tend a bit towards pudginess and need to lose more than 12 pounds, then spend 8 to 10 weeks. Look at it logically. Even on the most severe diet, the maximum body fat you can possibly lose in 1 week is 3 pounds. At that rate, you could lose 18 pounds in 6 weeks, allowing no time for error or backsliding. Losing 2 pounds of fat a week is more practical and reduces the likelihood of losing muscle. If you try to lose too fast, you'll inevitably burn some muscle for energy.
It's up to you, but you can learn from myself and Mike's mistakes. The best is to cut and start from a decent weight. Then do a slow, clean bulk. Remember, muscle doesn't grow overnight.
Just how slow is the growth process? Well, would everyone here agree to the fact that gaining even 10 pounds of muscle a year is a tremendous achievement? Anybody here grow more than 10 pounds of muscle this year? Not 10 pounds of body weight, that's easy. 10 pounds of pure muscle. It doesn't sound like a lot, and it isn't a whole hell of a lot. But look over the long term, 5 years, and that's how you have to look at your bodybuilding career over the long term. Nobody became Mr. America in 1 year. Gaining at that rate of speed in 5 years, you would gain 50 pounds of muscle, which is enough to transform the average adult male weighing 165 into a 215-pound Mr. Olympia. As a matter of fact, the vast majority of Mr. Olympia competitors weigh under 215. The growth process is probably even slower than you realize. In many cases, the dietary indiscretions of bodybuilders, as well as the training errors they make, are the direct result of a failure to recognize just how slow the growth process is. If a bodybuilder is expecting to grow a pound of muscle a week, or a pound of muscle a month, and he's not seeing those gains, then he's going to become hysterical and start training more often and increase his protein intake and so forth. But if you can develop a firm grasp of just how slow this muscle growth process is, then it is my firm belief that you will be less inclined to commit a lot of the ridiculous dietary errors and training errors bodybuilders are so accustomed to committing.
While presenting Mike Mentzer's advice, I want to also show all of you a realistic transformation while incorporating this method. I'm not on anything, I'm 100% natural. I'm a busy father of 2 with a full-time job. Let's see what more I can achieve in the next 6 months, in the next year. I'm going to keep posting my progress, and I hope you can share your stories too in the comments so others can see and be inspired.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, consider subscribing, like and share the video. See you next time.